Lady loves, welcome to day 3. For those of you who I saw this morning, so good to see you again. For those of you just tuning in, I'm so thrilled that you guys are here. I have one of my favorite people, one of my favorite mentors who's helped me throughout my entire journey, Manna Dabholkar, who is a psychic medium and also the owner of the Conscious Institute. Did I say that right? Institute, if I could use my words
Conscious
correctly. Thank you.
Conscious Leadership Institute.
There you
Yes.
go. Conscious Leader Institute. I can't say the word institute today for some reason. It's not rolling off my tongue. And I am so honored because she's been a huge part of my journey and how I've learned how to tap into my own intuition, my own body, my own energy, my own boundaries. And I think that's one of the most important things, especially for women, to understand where it's leaking and how we can have best practices around that. So without further ado, I am so excited to pass this over to Manna. Can everyone say up here for Manna? 2 shakes. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yes.
Michelle.
Also, if you have your cameras off, you can leave it that way. But if you feel called to turning it on, please do so. It's so nice to see your faces. All right, passing it over.
Yeah, 100%. Let's see your faces if you can. Let's see all those beautiful faces, even for a quick moment, and then you can just go back. Oof, there you go. Nice. And I'm here in this, I don't know if you guys can see me or you see everyone. If you're logging in from your phone, you may have to slide a few times to see everyone. Let's see. Beautiful. And everyone can hear me fine? Yes? Awesome. Well, welcome everyone. Good morning. I'm in Los Angeles, so good morning. And I'm so glad you're all here. So before we talk about boundaries, my favorite topic, I'm the boundaries queen. And before we define anything, I just want us to arrive. Okay, so wherever you are, how about we start with just a nice, slow, deep breath? All you have to do is sit back in your chair or your couch or your bed, depending on what time, and just nice and deep, all the way down into your bellies. Beautiful. Nothing fancy, just a breath that says, I'm here. Beautiful. And breathe out. And another. Let's do one more. Okay. Breathe in. Breathe into your shoulders, into your chest, down into your bellies. And see if you guys can ground your bodies. Everyone knows how to ground. Everyone kind of uses different techniques to ground, right? So just give yourself a nice grounding cord. And if you're new to grounding, all you have to do is just feel the weight of your body on your seat. So just check in with your body. Make sure everything is here in this place, in this vessel. Awesome. And as we go on for the next 45 minutes, man, we only have 45 minutes. I can talk about boundaries all day long. Michelle knows that. But I'm going to keep it real short, 45 minutes. Also leave some time at the end for you guys to ask questions. But what I recommend is as I am speaking, you can add your questions to the chat. Okay, so let's say if I'm not able to get to your question now, Michelle can send me the chat and then I can reply. I can reply to your questions via email. Yeah. So my name is Manna. I'm a psychic medium. I'm also a death doula. I've been doing death education for about 17 years, long time. This workshop isn't about becoming rigid or closed. Okay, it's about becoming really clear. I don't really look at boundaries as walls, right? They are information. They tell the world that, this is my system and this is where everything belongs in my space. So today, I want to talk about what energetic boundaries are and why they matter to your health. Okay, and then we can walk through a very simple 4-step process. It's really simple, like 4 steps. So you can come back to it again and again. And this 4-step process has really helped me in my work, not just as a medium, which we need really strong boundaries as mediums, but also with the death education. When you're sitting in a hospital room and someone's dying and there's just like chaos all around you, you need super strong boundaries. So I often come back to this process because it's really time tested and you can come back to it again and again. Okay, so let's begin with what energetic boundaries really mean. Okay, so why don't you guys go ahead and as I'm speaking, so that everyone's engaged, feel free to add in the chat what you think energetic boundaries are. Okay, I'm going to pull up the slides as you guys do that. Okay. So when we say energetic boundaries, we are not talking about it cold or being distant or unavailable to connection. I kind of look at boundaries as something that allows you to connect, right? It actually allows you to connect deeply with everyone around you. So energetic boundaries are about where you end and where something else begins, right? They're about your right to occupy your own space, whether it's physically, whether it's emotionally, whether it's energetically. You know that, you know what, if someone's gifting me something, I should know that this gift belongs to someone else. It just was gifted to me. So it's not really my energy. And that allows you to decide whether you want to accept that gift or not, right? So a boundary is not really a rejection, it's not abandonment. I will never recommend people cutting ties unless that situation is toxic and abusive, then get out of it. But you can love someone and still have a very strong boundary with them, right? And you can care deeply, deeply, and still say, you know what, this is as close as you're going to come, right? So when boundaries are weak or inconsistent, your system is going to become porous. And I see this in mediumship. Oh my God. Oh my God. So you take on what isn't yours. You're going to carry emotional, relational, you're going to carry energetic weight that your body was never meant to hold. And you know what? The body is always going to keep the score. I always say that to my students. Your body is going to keep the score. So let me show you what I mean by that. Okay, now we talk about energetic boundaries, and I don't know how many of you have actually seen your boundaries. Has anyone in this group actually seen your boundaries? Visually seen them? Just put that in the chat. I'm curious to know. Has anyone in this group actually seen visually what your boundaries look like? Rachel, you have? Okay. I'm getting a lot of no's. Okay, so normally we don't really know what boundaries look like. It's kind of a concept, right? It's like an idea of boundaries. But let me show you what boundaries look like. Okay, so what you're looking at on the screen is called the biofield. Sometimes, actually more popularly, this thing is called aura. And the energetic blueprint that organizes the physical body. That's what an aura is. It is electromagnetic, meaning it has electricity in it, and it also has magnetism in it, and we all have it. So in biofield science, for those of you who don't know, my background is therapy, so I used to be a licensed therapist, and I love data, love science. So in biofield science, particularly the work of Dr. Burr, I would highly recommend you guys Google him. Okay, so his name is Dr. Harold Burr, Burr. And this Dr. Burr was back in 1920s or 30s when he started doing work on biofield science. And the biofield or your aura is understood as the mold. I kind of think of it like the mold, the jelly mold, and that shapes your body. So your body is the jelly and it sits in this mold. Now, if the mold is smooth and intact, right, the jelly is going to set clearly. No issues. Very clean jelly. But if the mold is dented or rusted, or there are rips or tears or torn or collapsed, what's going to happen to the jelly? What's going to happen to the jelly? Oh my goodness. The jelly is going to reflect the distortion, right? It's going to show you in the manifestation. So whatever happens is going to show up in your body. The body is always going to follow the field. Write that down if you can. The body is always going to follow the field, meaning the biofield. So what you see on the screen is not just some random image that I downloaded from the internet. Okay, I do a lot of trauma healing work. And in that space, I use something called the BioWell technology, which uses fingerprints to give you a snapshot of your energetic health. So how about I show you this? Okay, give me a second. Let me stop share. I want you guys to actually understand that boundaries is not just an idea. It actually is a real thing. So here we go. This is a client of mine. And what you're seeing on the screen is through her fingerprints, it's the condition of her biofield. It's shredded, it's ripped. So when I see something like that, immediately what comes to my mind is this person has poor boundaries. They have terrible boundaries, chronic overgiving, right? Or difficulty saying no, or people living in other people's expectations. You're carrying like your mom's expectations on your shoulders. Long-term boundary violation. Maybe you're in a toxic work environment. Maybe someone is squashing your boundaries every day. Maybe you're squashing your own boundaries every day. You're disrespecting your own values. So eventually the nervous system is not going to catch up. It's going to have to compensate for this, right? And what was once energetic will now show up in your body. So when we scanned this person in August of last year, immediately when I look at this, I say, okay, this person has really high stress levels. Look at the stress levels at the top. On a scale of 0 to 10, she's somewhere at like 8 point something. And this is not energetic stress. This is stress that it could be physical, it could be emotional, it could be all kinds of things that she's consuming lifestyle. And what the system is showing her is because of what she's ingesting, what's going on in her mind, what's going on in her life, it's all being manifested in the biofield, but eventually it's going to show up in her physical body in the form of something. Allergies, cancer, we don't know. So let me stop here. I don't want to overwhelm you with this, okay? I don't want to scare you with this. Are we on the same page? How do you guys feel after that? Any questions on that one? Yeah, Amelia, go ahead.
The middle image, it looked like one side was like a lot more open and is that showing like I know like the left is the masculine or the right is the masculine and the left is the feminine, right? So does that mean that I was trying to think about it being flipped
You
around?
could read it. You could read, I know where you're going with that. You're going with the psychic reading. Yeah, absolutely. You could read it in many different ways. To me, it just shows that her aura is ripped. And it doesn't matter where it's ripped. It has a big giant hole in it, which means she's going to not just drain her own energy out, but she's also making space for other people's energies in her space. Right? That's the way to really look at it in the limited time that we have here. We can sit here and really analyze it. It's like a 25-page report, that BioWell thing. The reason I wanted to show it to you is this is, why boundaries are not a personality preference. They are a health practice. Okay, they really are. And the good news is that boundaries are not something you either have or don't have. They're a trainable skill. You can train yourself. If you had asked me 20 years ago, I was terrible. I had no boundaries. I did not know how to say no. And I didn't even have the concept. I didn't have this knowledge back then, right? And today, I want to give you a very simple framework that you can actually use, something that you can walk away with and say, I'm going to use this every single day and see how things change. Okay, so let's spend the next few minutes on that, the actual process. So this is a great time to actually write things down. Okay, no. So your step number one, within the setting of your boundary, your step one is always holding a very powerful intent, right? Your intention matters. Now, I remember going on Michelle's podcast. I don't know if it was 2 years ago, but a long time ago. And we spoke about what's exactly in your biofield, right? What's in it. And I said, well, 93% of what's in your biofield is really your state of mind. What's going on emotionally, psychologically, all those things are constantly being projected in your biofield. However, the remaining 7% are your words and your actions, your intention, right? So everything starts with an intent. A boundary begins the moment you internally decide that this is my space. So what I would like you guys to do is, and sometimes intent alone is enough, right? A very clear internal no will reorganize the field. So silently right now, as we are doing this, just try this on and write it down. This is a mantra that I use every day, and I've trained my brain. Okay, and it's very simple. I say to myself every morning, I choose what enters my space, and I choose what stays in my space. Super simple. I choose what enters my space, and I choose what stays. And notice what happens when the decision is super clear in your head and your brain knows. Your body is just going to follow your mind. Your body is a compass to your mind. So if you train your mind, you're already there, right? So that's step number one, have a very powerful intent. It's not fear-based, right? We're not trying to do this out of fear. We're trying to do this out of clarity and grounding. So I choose what enters my space. I choose what stays. Okay, that's step number one. Have a very powerful intent. Yes, Rachel, she obviously does have, I think, the podcast episode, and she will probably send that in. It was fun talking to Michelle on that podcast. Second, step number two is be in your body. Okay, now this is going to be really tough for women because we are multitasking, highly emotionally intelligent animals, right? We are constantly doing multiple things, taking care of kids, and we have this Zoom call to get on and training and all these things which are going to throw you out of your body. And then if you're a psychic medium like me, if you're an empath, if you're a healer of any type, any kind of healing modality, we are just so used to be outside our bodies because it's fun. It's fun. We are spirit beings, right? The body is here for what, 75, 85 years that you've chosen, great. But we know innately how to escape the body and then come back in. So what happens is because the body is filled with complexity, pain, emotional pain, most of us are like, I don't want to be in my body. I'm just going to be checking out. Astral traveling, dream, robot, out of body, all these fun things that I'm going to experiment and not be in my body. But boundaries don't work. Okay, boundaries don't work if we are floating above ourselves. That's the truth. I kind of think of it like, your body is your home, right? And if you leave the doors and the windows open and you leave, just go out for 6 months and come back in. Your house is gone. Someone else is in your bed. They're eating from your fridge. You know why? Because you left your doors and your windows open and you are not in it. You're not inhabiting your own house. And which is why if you're not in your body, the boundaries are not going to work. They work when we are inhabiting, we are claiming ourselves. So being in your body doesn't mean forcing yourself to feel good or relaxed, okay? It just means being present where you are. And I'll tell you what, like just 2 days ago, I have to stay in my body as a psychic medium most of the time. We receive messages and information in our body. So for the last 20 something years, I've been training myself to be super present in my body. So the minute I'm not, I can actually see myself outside of my body. I see myself. And just 2 days ago, I had a really severe muscle spasm in my back. And I tried not to take any chemicals or stuff. And it was just terrible. So I took Advil. I took Advil. And the entire night and the entire day, I was like, I could see my spirit like be next to my body. It was not fun. I did not like it because I knew that meant my body was numb. That meant I wasn't receiving intuition. That meant my boundaries were weak. That meant I was going to either fall sick the next day, which I did, or it meant I was going to be drained and tired and not myself. Are you feeling the light bulbs are going off? Oof. So here's that you can do something very simple, okay? Obviously, the best thing you can do to embody, to be in your body, would be practices such as breath work, because your breath is going to tie you, bring you back in your body and put you in it. So yeah, breath work is amazing to clean out your channels, but it is also amazing to tie you back in your body. Right? So breath work, vipassana meditation is amazing. Walking in the nature would be great. Anything that keeps you rooted in your body, where you can feel your feet, you feel the weight of your body, you feel where you're sitting, right? And this is you claiming your space. So when you're embodied, there's less room for intrusion, right? Because there's just no vacancy. This body can only really occupy one person at a time. So if that's you, then no one else can take your space. Okay, so is that making sense, everyone? Is everyone on the same page? Okay, so we got 2 steps, right? The first one was intent, very powerful intent, not fear-based, but clarity-based, right? Second was embodying yourself. So you have to find different methods to embody. I would say body movement like martial arts, dancing, working out every day, listening to music, being in your body. All these things are valid and they will keep you checked into your body. Anything that makes you feel like you're not connected to your body, emotional trauma, I don't want to call them negative emotions, but heavier emotions like anger or fear, um, or even drugs, when you know that, right? When you go through a surgery and they medicate you, you feel like you're not yourself. You know why? Because your spirit's outside the body. So if you're feeling that, if you're feeling disconnected from your body, know that there's going to be a breach in your boundaries. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, so let's move on to step number 3. Clarissa, can you put your question in the chat? So just in case I don't get to it, I will reply to your question. Okay. Just for safety's sake, just put everything in the chat. And I will spend some time at the end with Q&As, but there's the step number 3, which may take a little bit of time now. Okay. So step 3 in your boundaries process, we call it core value in mediumship. So you may say, what are core values? Well, core values are not your belief systems. I'll tell you that. So if you think loyalty, having your friends back, all these things are great belief systems, but they may not be your core value. Okay, core value is just one. It's that one thing that defines you. It's who you are. It's the essence that has never changed. And I received core value, like the stuff that I teach about core values in a channeling session. Okay. And whoever was giving me that information explained it so beautifully. They said, think of yourself as a beautiful tree. Okay. So let's say you are a coconut tree and the root of the coconut tree is your core value. It's uniquely you. Yeah, there are many coconut trees, so you may have many people in your family, but each person is going to have their unique identity that defines who they are, which is probably not going to be like anyone else's. And then the trees, the leaves and the branches and the coconuts, those are your belief systems. They come and go with the season. You can change them. You can train yourself to have a new belief system based off your life experiences. Next year, you may not believe in what you believed last year, but your core value is always going to be the same, lifetime after lifetime, if you do believe in lifetimes. Okay, it will never change. So then how do I get to that, Mana? Okay, so I'm going to ask you very simple 6 questions. Okay, 6 simple questions. And I want you to not think too much and just write them. And I'll describe my answer so you kind of get how I work to it. So here we go. Your question number 1. And I want you guys to work on these 6 questions, but take it slow. Okay, don't rush into any one of these. Question number 1 is, think about a moment in your life when you felt super happy, fulfilled, like you're so proud of yourself. I'll tell you when that was for me. It was when I quit my corporate job, cold turkey. I had no plans. Like I just knew that it wasn't made for me. I just felt not aligned. It was a great job, lovely people. They were all very nice to me. The work environment was toxic for other people, not for me. I was the lucky one. I was actually receiving a lot of mentorship and all kinds of, I was very young. I was super young. But I just knew it wasn't for me, and I felt so proud when I went and I say I quit. So when I say that, now I'm trying to sense what did I actually feel in that moment? What made me feel happy? I'll tell you what made me feel happy. I felt free. So the sense of it was I felt free. So now you want to write it down. So for instance, I'm going to write down the answer for the first question is the cold turkey situation where I quit and it made me feel really free. Okay, so free is a keyword for me in that particular question. Question number 2. Now we're going to look at the other end of it. Take a moment and ask yourself, when was a time in your life when you felt really angry, disappointed, unfulfilled, empty, annoyed, regretful, all those like heavier things that you feel when people are squashing your boundaries? For me, it was that job. It was that job. I felt so unhappy in that job because I felt that I wasn't free in it. You see, once again, the core theme that is coming out for me, not for you, you may have a different situation, is freedom. Freedom seems to be really important for Mana. Okay, at least in the first 2 questions. I'm going to write down the sense of it. What was I feeling, right? I was feeling suffocated. I wasn't happy. It felt like I couldn't be free in that job. So you're starting to look for a theme in these life situations, things that pop out to you constantly. Your spirit is telling you in every situation, all these 6 questions, you may have different things that you list, but they will all have a core theme for you, right? Question number 3, make a list of any activities where you experience the flow. When I'm traveling, I was just telling someone yesterday, when I'm in the clouds, like in the plane, I take the longest travel, like the longest layovers, the plane. I know people are like, you are crazy, Mana. But I love it when I'm up in the sky and I can look down and it just feels freeing to me. Once again, it feels freeing to me. So ask yourself, what is that for you? What is that activity for you when you feel like you're in the flow, you're connected with your intuition? And what is that? What is that feeling like? What are you receiving from it? Beautiful. Yes, Carly. And we do this in Mediumship 1 and 2. Once you start studying with me, the core boundaries, the core values will never leave you. As long as you stay with me, I'm going to bug you. Like, I'm going to harass you with the boundaries exercise, and I'll make you take it every month because we want to arrive in what is ours, right? And I'll tell you how all this works out, okay? Question number 4 is, who are your role models? What are the people that you look up to? These could be celebrities, this could be people from your family, people that you just look up to, teachers, whoever, right? Mentors. And then you got to ask, what exactly about that person do you look up to? What about them do you really like? And for me, it was my dad. It's always been my father. And I feel like the thing I like about him, he always speaks his mind. Like, he's not afraid to tell you, if you don't want to know, don't ask him. That's the kind of a guy he is, right? And I really admire that because we have to really sugarcoat things nowadays. And he is not like that. And I really admire it. So the things that we admire in other people happen to be our core values. Okay, we may not be living them, but we see them in others and we feel like, woof, I want to be like that. So once again, with my dad, I love that he can speak his mind. He's authentic. He's original. He's real. He doesn't care who he's speaking with. He will tell you what he's thinking, and I love that. Then we come to question 5. When do other people, and don't worry, don't rush through it. I'll have Michelle send you these questions, okay? So you can work at your pace as well. Question 5 is, when do other people usually turn to you for help? When do they come to you and say, I need your help? In my case, it's been listening because I'm a doula. I'm trained in just active listening, right? I'm a practice active listening almost every day. So I always felt that even as a child in my family, people would come to me when they wanted to just speak their mind. They wanted someone to listen to them. So that's my gift, listening, compassion. So now I'm going to look at that particular gift and say, okay, what's in it? And what am I naturally gifted at? Oh, I'm naturally gifted at helping and serving. I'm naturally gifted at helping people grow, helping people self-reflect, right? Educate. All these things come up when I ask myself, what am I naturally gifted at? And then the last question is my favorite question because people try to give me all kinds of answers for that. Question number 6. So if you had unlimited money, let's say you paid all your bills, okay, you have nothing to worry about. Everything is paid for. Now you have just unlimited money. What would be the first thing you go buy? The very first thing. For me, it's going to be trips, okay, traveling. I'm going to go see. I need to have this stamp of every country on my passport. That's me. Okay, so I'm going to go buy that. And it's not selfish. That's what I'll do. I know that. I'm very honest. The very first thing I'll go buy with that unlimited money I have is lots of traveling. So that tells me that I value adventure and growth and learning, curiosity, right? So all these things, so I'm going to list all these different things that just came up. Freedom, authenticity, being yourself, speaking your mind, curiosity, growth, adventure. List all those things down. And some of you may have 25 things. Some of you may have 5. It doesn't matter. You'll have a list of things that pops out with just these 6 questions, right? Once you have a list, now you're going to look at, because there will be some things which are listed multiple times, right? Or things which are kind of the same, like growth and adventure could go hand in hand. So adventure brings growth, right? Growth requires adventure, maybe learning, right? Curiosity. So you see how there are certain things which just complement each other. But then on the list, you're going to see that one thing, which is a deal breaker for you. Everything else is simply complementing that one thing. which is why you need so much more time to kind of sit and do this exercise. So, in all these years of doing it, what I realized about myself is all these other wonderful things like curiosity and learning and studying and adventure and travel, all these things are great, but there's one thing that I need, absolutely need for these other things to fall in place, and that is freedom. I need to be free in every single thing I do, which was the reason when, even though I had a great job, I quit because I didn't feel free, right? So freedom is my core value. All these other beautiful things like independence and growth and curiosity, they complement freedom. But without freedom, they will not exist. If I didn't have freedom, I may not be able to travel. I may not be able to grow. I may not be able to be independent or learn or be authentic if I wasn't free. So freedom is number one on this list. And that's what I want you guys to get to. Okay, yeah, you have a list of 10 different core values. Great. But what is at the top? What is at the top? And initially, what happens is you may go through a few, you may like, sometimes people just get hung up on growth and they don't want to get to freedom. They think it's growth. That's fine. Whatever works for you. Okay, everyone's core value is going to be right for them. Your core value doesn't have to be like mine or someone else's, or like your mom or your dad or your sibling or your spouse. It's actually going to be a little different than everyone else. Even how you define it may be different. If you ask me how I define freedom, it's a state of mind for me. It's not so much physical freedom. Yeah, that some of it is. But for me, freedom means I'm free mentally. For some of you, freedom could be just a physical thing where you need to be physically free, right? So I want you to define these things, how they apply to you. What happens with defining your core value? Because remember, I said your core value is your root. So when someone squashes your root, when they disrespect who you are, your essence, we literally die, like not physically die, but we die emotionally, and then we get kind of, our boundaries get weak. If we allow that time and time again for people to squash your root, squash who you are, your essence, then that's going to create the leak in your boundaries, in your aura, in your biofield. The more you use your core value as a compass for picking jobs and relationships and just navigating through life, oh my goodness, no one can breach your boundary. No one can breach your boundary, because you know what? Your core value is your boundary. Freedom is my boundary. If there's no freedom in the jobs that I pick, if there's no freedom in the relationships that I live, if there's no freedom in the stuff that I do every day, I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to engage, because it's not just going to make me unhappy. It's not sustainable, but it's also going to make the other people who are in relationship with me unhappy. So let me just get out of here for a quick second, okay? There is a step 4. There is a step 4, because yeah, it's good to know your core value. But remember that you have, I don't know how old each one of you are, right? I am in my mid 40s. And for a good 25 something years, I was training people to disrespect my core values because I didn't know what my core value was. So I was allowing other people to disrespect my core value. They had nothing to do with it. They just didn't know who I was, because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what my core value was. And a really good example of that is growing up, my mom would say, if someone needs your time, please give your time. People need you, have their back. And I think it's a great belief system, but time is one of my core values. I really value time. If you ask me to show up at like 10:45, I'll be here at 10:45, right? And then I get really irritated when people don't. So I knew that time and value of time is one of my core values. It's not the top one, but it's something that's really dear to me. So if I begin to give my time for free constantly, like every single day of my life, that's going to put a lot of stress on my boundaries. So you see, the boundary freedom, my core value freedom, is being disrespected by me following my belief system. And this is what happens with most of us. There's always this fight between your core value and your belief systems. Your belief systems are given to you, they are programmed into you from the time you were in your mom's belly. And even before that, some of it is from past life, some of it is genetics, right? Epigenetics, receiving from your family. But they are still programmed into you. They're not who you are. It's not the essence of your spirit. The essence, the blueprint of your spirit is your core value. And if we could just use the core value to navigate life, life would be so much easier and you will not be stressed. So boundaries aren't just a one-time declaration. So step 4, your step 4 is reinforcing it, re-educating people, and communicating it. Because your boundaries require reinforcement. Just because today you come in this workshop and figure out, oh, freedom is my core value. Everyone's like, wait, what? But you used to wait here for like 30 minutes if I showed up late for lunch. What happened to you now? So you need to re-educate your friends, your family members. You have to remind yourself and remind other people that, hey, this is who I am. And these are my limits, right? And you don't owe any long explanations or any justification, just clarity. I think clarity is kindness to yourself and to others, right? So the more you repeat them through your actions, people begin to notice it. They will notice that you are a changed person. You have something new going on here. You have a new boundary of some sorts. So it just means that you're training a new baseline. Yeah, you're training a new baseline because you realize that, hey, freedom or whatever your particular brand of core value is, you just realize that that's your core value. That's the essence of your spirit. So now you begin to retrain everyone around you to understand that. They may respect it, they can stay. If they don't respect it, they will fall off. You'll have to do nothing at all. So I want to leave you with this. We'll open up for questions in a second. That, healthy boundaries don't make you less loving. Yeah. They actually make you love cleaner. They protect your vitality. They protect your nervous system. They protect your capacity to show up without resentment. If I kept giving my time for free constantly, I'm going to show up filled with resentment. So boundaries are not about pushing people away. They're actually about finally standing where you belong, isn't it? So as you move to the rest of your day today, just notice where your body is, where your body is saying yes, where does it say no, and trust that information. Because if you are in your body, if you're embodied in your body is your navigation system. It's going to tell you what your mind wants you to know. It's not going to lie to you. It's only when we stay outside the bodies, we're not following our intuition, guys. We're not. Okay, people ask me in psychic mediumship, what impedes psychic mediumship? What impedes your intuition? The number one thing that's going to come in the way of your intuition is you not being in your body. You not being in your body. So that will be where we start, right? Intention, embodying yourself constantly, doing this core values exercise every 6 months so you know that your value hasn't shifted. Because if it has shifted, it's okay because it's a work in progress, right? But at least you know that you're making big life decisions based on your core value, not on your belief systems. And then you're educating and reinforcing it, constantly letting people know through your words, through your actions, that this is the new you, this is your core value, and this is how you live your life. So how about we open up for some questions now? Okay, I think everyone should be able to just unmute and ask. We have a good 10 minutes. Michelle, does that sound like a good plan?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, if you want to, ladies, there's a reaction button in the middle and it puts you guys kind of in order too, so it makes it easy for us to just unmute you. So if you guys, there's a couple in the chat. I saw Madison had one. So either we can just respond from what's in the chat, and if you guys want to come on, yeah, you can just either, like Mana said, take yourselves off, but I think going in a nice order with the react button might be easiest.
Madison says, and sometimes intuition can pull our bodies faster than they can go on a nervous system level. How do you approach this? Yeah, you know what? Intuition actually makes you more present. What does pull you faster is your instinct. So there's a difference between your instinct and your intuition. Your instinct is a body level reaction to things, which is what you're gone. Like you can read someone's mind, so you're gone now. You're not present anymore because you knew what they were going to say to you. Intuition is a little different. Intuition is not body level reaction. It's actually present moment awareness, and it comes out of nowhere. For most people. But it actually is, it's always around us, your intuition. We just are not in the body enough to realize what's the difference between intuition and instinct. So, Madison, that's how I would actually do some research on the difference between intuition and instinct. And you'll be like, oh my goodness, that will be the answer to your question. Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to go up, okay, I'm going to see what other questions we have here. And as I'm doing that, if anyone wants to just unmute and ask their question real quick, that's fine too. So we save time.
We can do Amelia. Jump on.
Mhm.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I feel like when we were going through those 6 questions, the thing that kept coming up for me was like safety. But when I reflect on that, it feels like a this life, like a wounded ego issue. Like, because I historically was raised with a mom who I felt very unsafe with. And so, but I feel like on a soul level, it would be freedom because the soul
Yeah.
just wants to be free. But like without that safety, like I can't get to that feeling free.
Yeah.
So
Or
I don't know if
without
you have
free,
anything to say
you may
about
not
that.
be able, or it could be the other way around. Without freedom, you may not be able to feel free and safe. So
Mm.
turn it around. So it's not so much that safety is complementing freedom, but freedom is rather a requirement for you to feel free, safe. Okay, safety. And so here's the thing. I had a student who said to me once that her core value was um, safety, but she didn't say safe. She said security. And then she said the other core value she had was change. And I said, wait, what growth, change? And like, security. So you're seeking like something that is steady and keeping you in one place, but at the same time, you're also attracted to change and growth. And those two things may not go together. They may, but they may not. So you really have to look at and say, is safety a belief system that I got? Because I did not, which looks like in your case, the safety thing, it could be a belief system that, oh, I need safety. Core value is not something that you need. Core value is who you are. So if it feels like a need, it's probably a belief system, guys. Okay, it feels like, oh, I need this so much, belief system. Because core value is just ease, right? It's very easy. It's flow, it's who you are, it's who you always been. So I would follow Amelia to just sum it up for you. I would follow freedom 100% as the navigation, not safety. Okay. Anyone else, just raise your hand. But I will look at the chat and answer your questions too, okay, through email. I'll do that if we run out of time. But anyone else? Clarissa, yes.
Yes, my question from earlier, I loved to see the visuals of the auric field, and I was curious to know if you've ever tracked someone like on a daily basis for,
Track
or
myself.
yeah, like have you ever done that over the course of like years, if you will? Or I mean, I'm sure getting the visual like information is a big part of that ability to be able to sustain the boundaried aura, right, over time, because otherwise we might know, but like if you don't have the science, I guess, or the data, right, on paper to prove it, then you're just trusting your intuition, I guess, right? But I'm just fascinated by that and would love to know if that's something you've ever tracked, and if it's possible to sustain a boundaried auric field even like in a chaotic world, you know?
Yeah. Can
Can
I
I
mute
mute
you so
you
I
so
don't
I
hear
don't hear
myself?
myself?
Yes.
And I'll answer that question. So yes, absolutely. I have actually I track myself a lot, guys, because my work is psychic mediumship, right? And so let me show you something real quick. Okay. This is, let me see if I can pull this up here. Okay. So now these are my reports, okay? And more recently, in the month of December, I did something really, I had a very long day. I started teaching at 8 a.m. in the morning, and I was done at like 9 p.m. So I wanted to go throughout the day, and my teachings are like lineage based, like energy work, like deep mediumship, psychic work. So stuff that would actually throw me out of my body, but also drain and rip my aura if I don't know my boundaries. Okay. So this particular one, you will see this was done on December 14th. Okay. It was done at 7:30 in the morning. And this was my energy field in the morning before I started. Pretty intact, right? Good. No rips, no tears. Wonderful. The chakras looked really good too. They were at 92% alignment. Remember, the chakras are important. Why? Because your intuition actually flows from here at the top, from here, from your crown, and it moves down your chakra system. We don't have just 7 chakras. We have 114 chakras in our body. But the 7 are like the freeway. And then you have little offshoots, okay? So if your chakras always need to be like this, balanced in the center, the mind look pretty good, right? We don't receive our intuition if the chakras are scattered, because it can't flow down the right channel. So this is in the morning. My stress levels are pretty good, 2.3. Then I did another one at 10 o'clock after the first class. Still pretty good. Holding on, Mana, holding on. There you go. The chakras were perfect. No changes. Then I went to afternoon, 3:30 p.m. Still, the aura's pretty good. The chakras are a little scattered now. See, they're a little like here and there. 88%, still not bad. The stress levels are actually moving down because this class probably had a lot of meditation and stuff like that in it. And then finally at 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the night, I did another one, chakras coming back up to the center, and the energy is back. So when you actually follow the 4 steps I tell you, I promise you there will never be a rip in your biofield. And you don't need validation for, yeah, sure, this is great, but you don't need this to know that there are no rips in your biofield. It's a feeling. It's how you live your life. If you feel drained every day, if you feel tired at night, know that your aura is ripped somewhere. But if you go to bed as high energy as you were in the morning, feeling great, then yeah, you're fine. You're just okay. So assess everything going on in your life, right?
I just wanted to say how fun it was real quick when you started talking about intuition. There was like this gust of wind, and there's these beautiful trees outside, and all the petals and leaves like started going like this. It was so cool. And there was one other instance where the leaves on the ground were doing that too. It was just so in sync with what you were speaking to. I love those magical moments, you know.
That was
I
totally
live
me.
for them. Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah.
Should we take one last question, Michelle, and then we'll wrap up? We have anyone else? That was a great question, Clarissa. Thank you. Any other questions?
There's a few in the chat here. How to maintain as a mom and how to protect aura as a nurse.
Ooh, how to protect aura as a nurse. That's kind of in the death doula situation. So if you are in a very stressful work environment where, you know, your work is to give your energy to others, you have to, what I do is I actually keep, you know, if like a couple of hours a week for myself. You know, and if you say that you cannot do that, then you're gonna have a ripped aura. Okay. So even if it's an hour a week, which is just entirely yours. Because if you, what happens in that 1 hour that I spend, so I actually take myself out for a coffee. I don't go with anyone. I'll just go myself. Okay, that's my thing, a weekly thing I do on Tuesdays. And I sit for an hour and just sip my coffee because it actually allows me to, excuse me, to notice what my energy feels like when I'm by myself. It actually allows me to see what is mine really in this world. Because if you're in constant communication with other people, those lines can get really blurred, where you kind of get confused between, is this energy mine or is this someone else's, right? So make at least 1 hour a week for yourself, where you take yourself to a place that you like. It could be a hike or a coffee store. And don't be on your phone. That's not the point. Keep your phone away and just immerse in your body and your energy, just to train your brain to know what is yours and what is not yours. Okay, every single week. What's going to happen with that? For those of you who asked the question about being a mom or being a nurse, and I'm a death doula, right? So I spend a lot of time with people who are dying. What happens is, even when you are in a chaotic situation, you're so grounded to your own energy that you know that everything that's going on around you is really not yours. So you're able to act on it and help the people that need your help, but you don't take it on. You don't come home soaking in other people's sorrow. You don't do that because your brain doesn't recognize that as your energy. We only get tricked when we don't know what is ours and what is someone else's. Yeah. So that would be a very quick answer.
Manna, we have in here, I'd love to know where you trained to be a death doula. I've been drawn to this lately. I feel like, don't you do that? Maybe you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we just actually start. I do train. I have a 12-week certification that I train once a year because it's such a heavy course. And we just started this past Sunday. My first training was on the job when my mom was dying of cancer, and I was 21 or something. And I didn't know I was a medium then. I didn't know I was a death doula, but I just had an innate understanding of what I was supposed to do. And her passing kind of opened the door for me into this world. So she was also the one who kept me away from it. When I used to have my spirit experiences as a child, she would say, "No, you don't, go pray." But then her passing, she brought me back into this work, and I've never looked back since then. So I design courses for other institutes for that. They specialize in death doula. I design their classes, but then I teach to my institute as well once a year. Yeah.
Beautiful, Manna. May you tell us how we can connect with you? I put it in the chat, but if you can tell us a little bit more about what's happening tomorrow. And then yes. Would you be okay with me sharing your email if people had specific questions?
Absolutely. Yes, please.
Okay.
So I'm doing a free info session on the psychic level 1 that starts on Saturday. So if anyone is feeling a call to a psychic training, it's not mediumship training. We already capacity on the mediumship cohort at this point, but we are starting a psychic level 1 on Saturday. And if anyone's kind of curious about what that training's like, I'm doing a free info session tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. And I know Michelle can send the link out, right, for that, Michelle?
Yep, I have it. Do you guys see it? I put it up a couple of times throughout the session. I'll put it one more time. And I will say too, that course was a big part of, sorry, I'm copy pasting while I'm talking here. That course was a big part of me coming into my own body and in my own breathwork. Like I choose breathwork as my, main modality, but having the psychic mediumship training really helped me understand my own essence before like holding space for other people, my own boundaries. And I'm still working on them. Actually, while you were talking today, Manna, I'm like, oh, I need to go back in again. Like I would even redo the level 1 just to like re-understand, like even when I've heard this before, but sometimes when you just hear it again at the right time, it just lands differently. And this was really good for me. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Ladies, can we hear it
And
from Mana?
if you study once, like if you take a course once, like a level 1 or something, you can redo it for free. If you're signed up through my institute, of course. Because I don't think you can actually become a psychic medium in 12 weeks, right? You need a constant support. So there are some folks here today who are doing the level 1. The medium Amelia is actually doing level 1 with me, Rachel. So if you go through level 1, most of them actually redo it for free, right? As many times as you want, basically, because I that the point is for you to get the support to become the best medium out there, or the best psychic out there. So absolutely, reach out to me with any questions. I'll be more than happy to answer those.
Thank you, Mana. Thank you so much. Ladies, do I not have the best taste in thought leaders? I must say, like, this is so good. I needed this today too. So thank you for, all this beautiful information and all this stuff that people can take home. Ladies, click that link, jump on. Even if you can't make it tomorrow, like get the link so you're in her field, in her community, so you can hear about all the things that she has coming up. I can speak firsthand because I did, I was a part of her course, and I really enjoyed myself. And again, I think I might be messaging you after this to see what you have going on for myself even. I think another thing too is just being in community as well is big too. So getting on calls and working on something with people that all care about the same thing is really magical. So thank you, Mana. May we hear it for Mana? For those of you with your cameras on, can we get some shakes for Mana? Yes, so good. Thank you so much for this. And ladies who are part of this marathon, some of you have been on for almost every single call. That's amazing. We have one more. We had a pop-up workshop for this evening. So that's with Sherveen. He's the owner of Symbiotica, and he's going to talk about cellular coherence. So as for those of you that are very interested in more of like quantum biology, he's going to take us through some really interesting stuff. So that's tonight at 6 p.m. PST. So make sure you're checking your time zones. And then also a reminder too, for those of you that are jumping on for the first time today, we have some fun challenges happening as well. So check your emails, and they explain exactly what they are. One's a social media challenge. The other one is a community challenge as well, which I gave you guys the post at the beginning of this call. So thank you again, Mana. You are such a gift. And ladies, I will see you 6 p.m. tonight. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mana. All right.